Enrique Tarrio of the Proud Boys sentenced to 22 years in prison. I think this is a great example of why, not why, but an example of how bad our media is, American media is, in terms of how the story is being covered. And the fact that our media is so bad, and I really wonder what they're teaching in journalism school today, is why propaganda is, well, one of the reasons why propaganda is such a big business in this country, right? Bad media opens the door to propaganda, right? Because they can use these issues, like I'm going to point out one right now, as a doorway to manipulating people. So right now this guy got, Tario got 22 years in prison. Obviously the profitable narrative from right-wing media, regardless of what the facts are, Proud Boys is on the right, close affiliation with Donald Trump, who's the head of the Republican Party. So in the tribal brain of an American partisan, if you're on the right, you want to hear about how this is unjust. It's a weaponization of the DOJ. You need some kind of a apology, deflection. That's the type of content that will get you the most money, right? So naturally, there's right-wingers that are online that are talking about, trying to say the charge is bogus. They're trying to say that he wasn't even at the Capitol, which is a fact. And someone even said he got, 2 decades in prison for sending a text message. Okay. So naturally, a group of liars are out there saying this kind of stuff. My presumption is that they're lying. That's what they do, right? But because I'm not a tribalist myself, and because I care about the truth, right? I'm not going to just go and say, oh, this is a lie, this is nonsense, da da da. My instincts tell me that these charges are probably legit. They don't have to be. There could be something shady going on, something partisan, perhaps. But my instincts tell me that it's probably legit. However, I can't have a strong argument based on my feelings. I feel that it's legit. If someone's challenging and saying this is bogus, I can't have a rebuttal without investigating myself to know what's what. I'm not going to trust what somebody like Tim Pool is saying, right? So what I want to find out, what was he convicted of, right? And what was the basis of the conviction, right? Obviously, he tried to defend himself, and he lost. Why did he lose, right? How were they able to win this case and get him that 22 years? And I know part of the answer already. I already got snippets of this, which is the terrorism enhancement. I don't know how much more that added to it, but I know that added significant time to the sentence. So we know that part of the reason that he got what he got was because of the terrorism enhancement. But unlike somebody like Tim Pool, whose goal is just to feed his right-leaning audience with something that protects them from an uncomfortable truth, I actually want to know the truth, right? So I recognize they did the terrorism enhancement, but what was the grounds for determining that what he did? Well, I want to look at what the law books say about the terrorism enhancement in terms of when and how you can utilize it. I'd assume that whatever the law says, it met it, because how else would they win in court? But I would still want to see for myself. I wouldn't want to make an assumption. How do you get a situation where the terrorism enhancement is applicable, right? And then I would want to compare that to what happened and see if it makes sense to me that they got the terrorism enhancement. But bottom line is, I want to know every single thing he was convicted of, and I want to know the strength of the case. I want to know a summary of what were the arguments made and why exactly did he lose. Now, I kept Googling and Googling and Googling and Googling and Googling and Googling, and I saw so many posts about this, and everyone, it seems to say the same thing. Proud Boy leader sentenced to 22 years. Sentenced to 22 years. Sentenced to 22 years. Sentenced to... Some of them will mention seditious conspiracy, I think, is the term that they use. But they're not very clear, right? It's just a word that they have in there, seditious conspiracy, but it's like, I want to know the facts. I want to know the legality in terms of what was he convicted of and why, right? Now, I'm not going to say, I'm sure there's someone out there that has this information, but overall, I skimmed through a ton of articles all over, online, CBS, CNN, online publications, and they all seem to be focused on the same thing. 22 years, Proud Boys. I think they mentioned the Black Lives Matter thing where he was banned and such and blah, blah, blah. But I couldn't find a breakdown. Now, I'm obviously very politically involved. And even there's only so many hours in a day. And if I'm frustrated trying to get to the facts of the matter, what about the normies? Like, the average person doesn't care to investigate any of this stuff, right? I just don't understand how a major media publication can report on something like this, and you're not very clear on a simple breakdown, right? This is a legal thing. He lost his case. He was convicted. He was sentenced. I should see he was charged with these things. They dropped these charges, and then he was convicted on this. And the basis of the conviction what's the basis of the conviction? So whatever the law is that he violated, there's rules in terms of, what defines a violation of this law, right? Like felony eluding. If a police officer tells you to pull over, you don't pull over right away. You drive like a block at 30 miles per hour. I don't remember what the grounds are, but I don't think that constitutes felony. That'd be like a misdemeanor eluding, perhaps. Felony now, I mean, if you're speeding away and you're doing 80 miles per hour and, you're gone half a mile away, I mean, there's clearly no attempt to pull over. I mean, you're definitely running. You know what I mean? But bottom line is, the law specifies what categorizes felony eluding versus misdemeanor eluding, right? So I want to know, what's the basis for the charges that he was convicted of, and why did he lose? I don't see that. So when you're not giving these kinds of details, you're allowing people like Tim Pool to go and insert whatever narrative that he wants. And then how are people supposed to know what's true? I can't challenge what Tim Pool is saying without knowing what the facts are. Tim Pool is not giving the facts. He's not showing us the court documents. He's not even quoting anything. He's just saying, this is what happened, and this and that, and he wasn't even there, and da-da-da. And some of the stuff he's saying is actually true, right? But I don't know. I can't know every single thing that he's saying, what's true and what's not true, right? So many people who like him, they're just going to take his word for it, and then boom, 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 right? I mean, I just don't see how anyone in the news media could be reporting on this and just don't talk about the fundamental details, right? 22 years is a long sentence. I think a key part of the story would be, why did he get so much time? And you can't just say terrorism enhancement, right? You would need to start with what time he would qualify without the terrorism enhancement, right? So let's start with a fundamental amount of time. And let's start out with why that amount of time. What's the basis for that? Why did they win? Why did they lose? I don't know, man. There's been many times I see stories, and it's like critical details are just missing from the story. Like people are just focused on, not unlike a lot of people in independent media. It's about clicks and views. Oh, Proud Boy, 22-year sentence. Yeah, American media has a lot of work to do. As long as they continue to be the way that they are, propaganda is going to continue to take advantage of these things, and it's not good for the country. This is the Baby Channel. To make me comment section below, click on the like button, subscribe, smash that bell. Be well.